What's going on, macro perspective? We have a special episode. We're both stuck in the airport right now, across the across the country. Um, I'm in Midway right now, and Seamus is in Salt Lake City, doing some work legs, and I missed my second flight, so I got to go to Baltimore to get to DC. So good old fun stuff. But it brought up like a good concept because last time I got stuck in DC for like you, Seamus, like you got like what, a 5 hour
Mm.
delay or something like that,
Yeah, like a
right?
5 hour delay. Yeah, yeah,
I got stuck there, had to go to Nashville, and then from Nashville, I got like really upset that like I couldn't stick to my goals, like get home and go train the next day. So I ate an entire pizza. got
yeah. You just said screw it completely, right?
I literally said F it, and I literally had like one slice, and I was like, I'm full, but I paid $30 for the pizza.
Yeah, you're like, screw it. I gotta go. I gotta
I got
go. I gotta finish this through.
I got to
One
eat this whole
track mind.
I got to eat this whole thing now is what happened, and so I think today discussing travel and how to like plan for it. I think so. I mean, all my days of travel, I always like have my Tupperware containers with me.
Hmm.
And today's meal was super sexy. It's nothing but white rice, sardines, and canned salmon with a
Ooh, I
little bit
love
of
sardines.
sardines and salmon, man. And it's like 50, like 40, 50 carb, like 50 protein, and like 15 fat. And I mean, I got one more of them to eat to like really stay on point because I'm really dedicated right now to like making sure I actually hit my goals by my birthday.
Yeah.
I gave the number of 210, so got to stick with it. And I mean, how do you deal with like a delay? Like, what would you say like right now that you've done? Because I know there's a ton
Yeah,
of good food in the area, right?
yeah, for sure. Well, like first and foremost, I do my best to stick to the goal of the food that I have for the day that I set. Um, I did not pack or prep any of this, but I do follow some tenets of like staying within my calories and then definitely hitting my protein. That's kind of like what I do. So, for example, like this morning I had like the omelet kind of thing going on, and then from there
At the Holiday
at the
Inn, right?
Holiday Inn,
It
a
was
this
was it the veggie omelet or was it the one with cheese?
there's a cheese omelet, so it's a little bit higher in fat. But then throughout the day though, I decided like have a protein smoothie, like the Core Power one. So it's like 30 grams right there. And then they ordered this lunch for work, which is like some braised beef with like, Brussels sprouts and broccoli. And then I'm at the airport. I had dinner at the airport and I did pickup sticks, but it was just the broccoli and beef and then seeing veggies. So that was under like 500 calories overall. There's some sauces there that are hidden, but like technically I'm still within my calories. And then my biggest thing that I try to do is hit my protein. So like that's how I try to do it when I travel. I just try to go almost like paleo-esque, if that makes sense, which is greens and veggies because I can control for those. And then also at the same time, I don't know what calories might be in the sauces, the oils. So that's what I do. And then with the delay, what I'm doing right now, Marcos, is I just got more snacks, protein-based snacks, some cheese, so some fat, and then some bubbly water just because it kind of keeps me filled up a little bit. And I kind of looked at my watch. It kind of died earlier, but I was like, dude, I'm at Salt Lake. This freaking place is huge. I got 10,000 steps already, but I'm like delayed 5 hours. I'm like, I can go get another 10,000 hours. So I watched the little TV. I'm going to go walk around after this for another hour. It's kind of like rucking because I got like 20 pounds on my backpack basically. And it's like, oh, cool. That's a great way to kind of
Yeah.
adapt to the situation. Why don't you just go ahead and, hey, you might overeat a little bit because, you're staying up later than usual. Okay, well then why don't you be mindful about your activity? Why don't you move a little bit more? Maybe get a little bit more walking in there.
Yeah, and shit, just because like I had to go from like the B terminals all the way to the A terminals, all the way back to the B terminals, and I found a spot that's a little quieter to do this. And same thing, like I'm at over 10K just from like airport travel days, and um, it's really easy to then be like, well, like all these things are there, and like you want to kind of say, "Woe is me," and this isn't my first rodeo. Like I've had those days where I like have struggled and I've like felt like I don't want to like stay in it, especially with like the diet. But I don't know what's changed lately to really like stick to it. And obviously, like I always usually bring my food for like the outbound travel. So like you dealing with the delay. When I was in DCA, literally like 2 weeks ago, I got had that 5 hour delay, and I'm like, I didn't bring any food. I'm not prepped. I didn't go to Trader Joe's that morning to like have some like extra protein snacks, and I didn't want to pay the money, and I thought that the flight I was taking was never letting me off the plane. So I was like, well, I'm just not going to eat. And then, like, of course, the pizza happened. So I think we're all we're all subjected to feeling a certain way. And again, like sometimes the willpower because you're just like, well, I got to try to stay up and don't want to miss my flight again, um, or whatever. And yeah, it's interesting how the mind will just like easily go to find some comfort when you're a little stressed out about like things not going as according to plan because you obviously try to time your food around the actual flight time and sure enough here we are sitting waiting, it's like
Yeah, yeah. I think the biggest thing I would hit that with that concern is like when when you have like you're trying to use your willpower, especially towards the end of the day, and you're trying to do like, oh, 5 hours and then an extra 2 hours, and you're just saying, hey, I'm not going to eat. I think, to be quite honest, that's actually one of the worst ways to do it because at some point the willpower will deplete and the food around you, the environment will win just because it's there. It's a constant. There's just so many things. So what I highly recommend is use use that use kind of like that willpower that you kind of with you, if that makes sense. So instead of saying like, no, I'm not going to eat, it's just like, well, why don't we try to just limit what we're having and like have snacks that are ready to go, just so that in case I do trip out, in case that I do decide like, hey, I'm looking for something, you have, an easier thing to reach for, right? Instead of deciding, hey, screw it, I'm just going to go for the whole pizza. But hey, it's not always perfect. It's not always right. Sometimes leaning on like, hey, I'm gonna starve. That's cool too, but honestly I don't think that having extra protein snacks throughout the day, maybe it's way more calories than usual, way more protein than usual for one day. I think I'd take that trade off instead of like, oh, you know what,
mm.
screwing it up with like tons of different things,
Yeah, and like it's again, it was my bad. It was only when the blame was me. And granted, it was like the difference of like being at maintenance versus being like in a deficit for like that week. And I think sometimes it's like as you are doing behaviors that are trying to like get some body composition changes, you're you tend to lean into those things just a bit more because it again can kind of help you with that. And I mean, there are plenty of options other than pizza. Like literally, there was a Greek place in Nashville that looked amazing, and I was like, I fucked up. I should have just gotten the Greek skewers, but like, like it was like dumb of me because I was like, well, I'm not gonna eat anything, and then I just literally just
Yeah.
said F it because. And honestly, I didn't even get the pizza that I wanted, which is the sad thing. I was like, I really wanted to
Yeah,
try.
you kind of like
They're like, oh no, the kitchen's closed. All you can get is pepperoni and cheese, and I'm like, great. And it was, I mean, honestly, I feel like Chuck E. Cheese pizza was better than their pizza.
Yeah, you kind
Probably.
of got like the sad ending of it because you're like, you know what, I'm not gonna get the glorified Greek Mediterranean food, like good skewers. I'm gonna go for
Mm-hmm.
this pizza, but then like you don't even get the pizza you want. It's like it comes to the point that you're like, why did I even do this? It wasn't even fucking worth it. But it's just because like your brain is just you're at that point of like fatigue. You've had a stressful day of travel. Traveling is stressful. Like people don't get it. And then you just succumb to it, at some point, and it's just um, yeah. So I just be ahead of time, like knowing that hey, you're gonna be stressed, knowing that there's gonna be some kind of thing that's gonna ask you to be adaptable. Like honestly, that's the best piece of advice I could give somebody is like just be ready for it, and like know that it's probably not gonna be correct.
Yeah. And honestly, like in hindsight, I probably ate 3,000 calories with that pizza. Like it was a large pizza. Like it wasn't even the personal one; it was a fucking large. And I was like, in hindsight, I probably could have had like a beer, like or something that would like taken the edge off and been far, like actually further ahead. But like because I
Yeah,
don't really have that as like a vice or something I ever utilized, like it doesn't really resonate. And I looked at food personally, and
yeah,
again, like like you could probably do something like that on that day, and it probably might be a better solution. Just give yourself like a little bit like of a reprieve, and might be the one case for
yeah.
alcohol that I can think of, that like actually makes sense.
Yeah, no, no, honestly, I think that makes sense. I mean, that's why, having a little bit of reprieve, having that little bit of, chillax time just to decompress. I think it's worth it right there just because you take the edge off and it's like, okay, cool, I got to take the edge off. My brain got what it wanted, but also at the same time, I'm still, I could get back to my goals easier a little bit instead of being so backed up. So it totally makes sense. There's so many options, that you can utilize.
Yeah, and I mean I got this bad boy right here, drink coupon for the next flight, but I'm gonna try to pawn it off with somebody else. As
Yeah.
as a result of like again not really like ever really doing that, because it doesn't really bring me that like pleasure and joy personally. But again, like that may have been a more viable option if I would have like thought of that. Like I'm like, okay, like what's 200 calories of like a beer or like like literally a mixed drink at that point versus 3,000. And
Yeah.
so I mean, yeah, like, and again too, like I could have done protein leveraging like you mentioned, which is a great option. And I think when willpower goes out the window, especially with travel and things not going your way, like again, like I mean, we work with a lot of people that are constantly in airports, right? And
Yeah.
it's funny because like I've coached them up, and then once I finally experienced it, I'm like, this is actually a little bit harder than I expected. Like if you really don't come prepared, you can really go like there's really not a ton of super healthy options. But the one thing I have found that it's definitely in Vegas, it's definitely in like DC, it's definitely in Midway, it's definitely in a lot of places now is Farmer's Fridge, and they have like healthier
Love
like
those.
salad options and things that have, and like you can get like a side of protein and throw it in
Yeah.
there as well, and like you can actually make a relatively more informed decision because they have the total macros and calories on it. And honestly,
I
I,
love those things.
I honestly, dude, like I think if we were to create a business that was like probably very profitable, it would be like practically like a meal prep in fucking airports, which is kind of what they do. And I think they again like the thing that sucks is that sometimes it skims on the quality of ingredients for consumer cost and like
Mm.
and profit margin. But I would totally make something that would probably not make quite as much because well the airport dictates the price point anyways. Um,
Yeah.
but like provide people with healthier options that would allow them to again really stay on their goals with travel because that I do think a lot of people that become busy professionals are trying to advance their career space like you're going to be
Yeah.
subjected to this at some point and I feel like that would be a really cool thing. So hopefully one day when we're blown up like the macro perspective we'll have a vending machine inside of some airports and
Hey,
y'all can thank us later.
drop the Venmo link, drop the donation link, get on our Patreon. No, I definitely agree. I definitely agree. I think I love those salad things. I love like just getting like the protein kind of stuff. It's hard sometimes because like I was like at the market right here, and I was like trying to eye something too. Like I was like, oh, should I get these like you know those Justin's like Justin's almond butter and stuff like that. They had like the Justin's
Hmm.
like peanut butter cups. And I'm like, okay, well it's healthier because it's got that Justin's brand. But I'm like, but when you look at the thing, it's like in line with my goals, even though it's healthier, it's still like 3,000 calories of chocolate peanut butter cups that like I could probably demolish in 2 seconds.
And honestly, too, I think like I mean, I looked at like a Quest bar, which would have been a better option, and I like hemmed and hawed. I literally went to like four places the last time, and I'm like, uh, I could just get this, and then I didn't want to spend the $4, and then I spent $30 on the pizza. So it's like, I'm like, dude, what the hell? But again, like this, I feel like it's a very relatable experience because
Yeah.
every time we're going through something in our travels, you help learn again this perspective, which is really what this
Yeah.
podcast is about, is to make sure people understand, hey, these these things can happen, and you can prep, and you can plan, and you can meal prep, but like the leg home is just as important as the leg there. So again, like stock up on some stuff that like could be a contingency plan before getting to the airport, even though you don't even have to tap into it. And it's again like a lot of times I'll pack only what I'm eating, so I like didn't do that, and I don't know, just spitballing ideas to help people think about this because again, it tends to be a common trend here of every flight that I've made in this travel leg, because it's generally the same leg. I'm running into the same issue because the Las Vegas terminal is a little bit bogged down right now, and shit, like literally to and fro, it's like an issue trying to like not get somewhere on time. So time can work for you and against you very quickly.
Yeah, man, I don't think you could have said it any better. I think really, if someone is listening to this, understanding that like part of your life at some point in your career, you might be doing a lot of travel. You might know your hotel room and your airport more so than your own home and backyard, unfortunately. And you gotta be prepared. If health and being healthy is part of that grind, like understand that like maybe that day it's not perfect, but being proactive, having a plan, and having like a fail safe, whatever that is, whether it's protein or only eating a certain food like that day and just getting more steps in, like honestly try it out, just have something, just because this life isn't meant to be lived like, oh, I gotta just do what everyone else is doing at the airport. No, you can figure out what works best for you at the end of the day.
Yeah, 1,000%. I think again, hey, we're just living in a relatively relatable experience right now, and it's kind of again, this is for all of our travelers out there, and again, whether it's like something very frequent and it's something that's now becoming a part of your work, or something you want to be a part of your work, and you still have like fitness goals, really take into consideration and stock like what might be in different airports. Really take a leg of the land and come overly prepared the first couple times, because you'll feel really good. But then really scope out like the terminals and what could still fit the bill, and if there is like, again, if the Hudson newsstand actually has like protein bars you would actually maybe want to consider, or again like are there other things that are again like maybe not 100% aligned with the fitness goal at that time, but helps you not overconsume. And again, I love food, and I think a lot of people can run into a similar issue. So here we are talking
Yeah.
about it, and hopefully people can understand that, hey, this could be part of your journey, and again, they'll never be perfect, but I love that protein leveraging. I love the like more paleo approach, asking for steam so you can kind of eliminate sauces. I think that's super smart too.
Yeah, yeah. Guys, try it out, Um, honestly, super simple, super, just super present, super as best as you can. It's never going to be perfect. And just, it's, it is what it is. So appreciate you guys listening in.
Yeah, hopefully this is another thing that people can relate to. I don't think a lot of people talk about like ways to circumvent airport travel. Again, traveling with like, I'm the weirdo with the food container and just a backpack with this 1 day travel trip, and like so again, next time maybe knowing this lake could happen like this again, I will pack a couple extra meals just to make sure
Yeah.
I have it in case. But honestly, like again, I think when your mind is really set to that goal, you'll grind it out. And yeah, that's where I think once you get your momentum, you can be an unstoppable force. But sometimes it
Yeah.
sometimes it takes like having some issues a couple times, So um, that's it.
Yeah.
That's really it, guys. I mean, we're here just we were like, this is a good thing to talk about. If there's more questions you might have about just travel and how to be a little more prepared in food items that can actually make it through airport security, we'll let you.
I
We'll
don't
let
think
you.
we won't ever have I don't think we'll ever have an episode like this ever again, guys. The both the Marcos and Seamus show stuck at the airport show. So this might be one for the ages. I mean, we do travel a lot for work, and maybe one day the macro perspective goes on the road, and we're doing conferences and stuff with some speakers. But I don't think we'll be stuck on the road anytime soon again. So
Yeah. So yeah, guys, if you got some value out of this today, if there's other questions you have, drop it down below for us. We'll give you maybe some better snacks and healthier options to take with you, things that you can purchase that might make more sense. Yeah, just let us know what you're thinking. And again, if this little episode gave you some value. So we'll see y'all in the next one.